I'm 90, and I need to tell you something before you scroll. Because there was a night, not long ago, honestly, when I realized my life was about to end the way people whisper about. Not with a big moment, not with dignity, just quietly, with regrets stacked so high they could have been a wall between me and everybody I loved. And the worst part, from the outside, I looked fine. Look, I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to hand you a flashlight. Because if you're watching this, there's a chance you're standing in the same hallway I stood in, and you don't even know it. So let me rewind. I'm Walter, 90 years old, retired. I used to run a small repair shop, nothing fancy. Fixing radios first, then televisions, then anything with a wire and a stubborn problem. I loved it because broken things made sense to me. You find the loose connection, you tighten it, you bring it back to life. People are harder. For years, I treated my own life like a machine that would just keep running if I kept working, if I kept providing, if I kept being useful. And you know what? That works. Until it doesn't. Here's the scene I never thought would be mine. It's late. The house is quiet, but not the good kind of quiet, the lonely kind. I'm sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of tea that's gone cold. The fridge hums. The window shows nothing but black. And my phone is face down like it's ashamed. I flip it over. No messages, no missed calls, not even a dumb advertisement, just silence. And for a second I feel this weird, sharp panic, like, wait, is this it? Is this what I built? A life so busy I forgot to build a life. You ever get that feeling? Like you're sprinting on a treadmill and someone quietly unplugged the machine, but you're still running because you don't know how to stop? That was me. I had kids, I had a marriage, I had friends, I had a community, and then slowly I didn't. Not because they died, not because they hated me, but because I kept choosing later. Later I'll call, later I'll apologize, later I'll show up, later I'll rest. Later I'll be present. Later is a liar. It smiles at you while it steals your years. Let me tell you what almost happened, and then I'll tell you what saved me. The almost was a stroke, not the dramatic kind you see in movies. The quiet kind. The kind that starts as a weird heaviness in your arm like you slept wrong. The kind where you look at a spoon and your brain hesitates. Like the spoon is speaking a language you forgot. I was alone. Of course I was alone, and I remember thinking, this is embarrassing, but it's true. My first thought wasn't, I might die. My first thought was, I don't want anyone to see me like this. That's pride, you know, the kind that keeps you from asking for help until help becomes a siren too late. I tried to stand, my leg buckled. I hit the floor, not hard enough to knock me out, just hard enough to remind me I wasn't as strong as the story I told myself. And then I lay there. The ceiling looked so far away. The light above the sink flickered. And the clock, oh, that clock, kept ticking like it didn't care. That's when the thought landed in my chest like a stone. If I die tonight, the last thing I did was pretend I didn't need anyone. I don't know how long I was down there. 10 minutes, an hour. Time gets strange when you're scared. Eventually, I did the one thing I'd avoided for years. I called my daughter. Not because I wanted to bother her, because I finally understood I had already bothered her by being absent. My finger hovered over her name like it weighed 100 pounds. Then I pressed. She answered on the second ring. Dad? And the way she said it, like she'd been waiting for me to remember she existed, broke something open in me. She got to my house fast, faster than I deserved if I'm being honest. She knelt beside me, put her hand on my face and said, I'm here. And I cried. Not because of the pain, because I realized how close I was to dying in a house full of things with a heart full of unfinished sentences. That night didn't end my life, but it ended a version of me that was slowly killing it. Before I go further, I want to tell you a small story from my shop, because it explains the trap better than any lecture. One afternoon, a young guy came in with a radio. Old thing, heavy as a brick. He set it on my counter like he was dropping a bad memory. He said, "It kind of works sometimes, but it keeps cutting out." I popped the back off, and there it was. A wire hanging by a thread, not snapped, not dramatic, just barely connected. I told him, "That's your problem." He frowned, "But it turns on." "Yeah," I said, "for now." Then I tapped the side of the radio with my knuckle, just a gentle tap, and the sound died. Silence, then, after a second, it crackled back to life like nothing happened. He laughed and said, "That's exactly what it does." And I remember thinking, even back then, wow, that's a human being, that's a marriage, that's a friendship, that's a whole life. Because a lot of things don't break with a bang. They break with a loose connection. The phone calls get shorter. The visits get rarer. The apologies get delayed. The laughter gets replaced with polite updates. And you tell yourself it's fine because it's still on. But you're one little tap away from silence. After my daughter helped me up that night, she didn't yell. She didn't do a big dramatic speech. She just started looking around my house like she was taking inventory. And then she said something that stung more than any argument. She said, "Dad, when was the last time you had someone over?" I opened my mouth and nothing came out. Because I didn't know. I had chairs, sure. I had plates. I had a living room. But I didn't have a life that welcomed people in. That question haunted me for weeks. So I did something strange. I made a receipt box. In my shop, we kept receipts for everything. Parts, repairs, dates, proof. So I started keeping receipts for my life, not paper receipts, moments. I wrote down little things like, Tuesday, called my son first. Friday, told my neighbor the truth instead of joking. Sunday, walked even when I didn't feel like it. Wednesday, sat with my feelings for 10 minutes, no TV. It felt silly. Then it started feeling powerful. Because what gets measured gets noticed. And what gets noticed can be changed. Now let me tell you the part nobody likes to hear. The most dangerous time in your life is not when everything is falling apart. It's when everything is tolerable. When you're not in crisis, but you're not alive either. When your days are fine, your relationships are fine, your habits are fine. Fine is a soft coffin. Sorry, that's a dark line, but it's true. So I started asking myself a question every morning before my brain could argue with it. If I kept living exactly like this for the next 5 years, would I be proud or would I be numb? And if the answer was numb, I treated that as an emergency. Not a panic emergency, a direction emergency, because you don't need to be bleeding to be dying inside. You just need to be disconnected. Let me give you the warning signs that showed up in me. Maybe they're showing up in you too. And these are not the dramatic signs. These are the quiet ones. Warning sign A. You keep your life clean so nobody can see the mess. You avoid visits. You avoid deep talks. You avoid being asked how you really are. You tell yourself you're being private, but really you're being lonely on purpose. Warning sign B. You're always irritated at small things. The noise, the traffic, the way people chew, the way the world moves. That irritability is often grief wearing a mask. It's the soul saying, something is wrong, but you don't want to name it. Warning sign C. You keep score. You remember every time you helped, every time you were ignored, every time you swallowed your pride. Keeping score feels like protection, but it turns into poison. It turns your heart into a courtroom. Warning sign D. You delay joy until you earn it. You don't buy the flowers. You don't take the walk. You don't call the friend. You don't start the thing. You keep waiting for permission you'll never receive. Warning sign. E, you numb out, scrolling, snacking, another show, another drink, another distraction. Not because you're weak, because you're tired of feeling. When I saw those signs in myself, I realized I needed a plan that didn't depend on motivation. Motivation is unreliable. It's like weather. So I built a simple rescue plan, 30 days. Not to become a new person overnight, just to tighten the loose wire. Here's the plan if you want to steal it. Week 1, 1 contact a day, not a full conversation, just a touch, a text, a voice note, a thinking of you. You're not fixing everything, you're reopening the circuit. Week 2, 1 truth a day, a small truth. I'm overwhelmed. I miss you. I'm scared. I'm proud of you. Truth is the opposite of isolation. Week 3, 1 body, promise a day. Something tiny but non-negotiable. 10 minutes outside, a glass of water before coffee, a stretch before bed. Your body needs evidence that you care. Week 4, 1 joy a day. Yes, joy on purpose. A song from your youth, a hobby, a funny clip, a walk in the sun. Because if your life doesn't contain joy, your brain starts calling survival living. And here's the secret. After 30 days, people start trusting that you mean it, not because you said the perfect words, because you showed up consistently. Consistency is louder than regret. Okay, back to the 5 ways my life almost ended badly. Here are the 5 ways my life almost ended badly, so yours doesn't. 1. I confused being busy with being loved. I thought if I worked hard, if I paid bills, if I stayed responsible, people would automatically feel close to me. But closeness is not an invoice you pay. It's time, attention, softness. It's showing up even when you're tired. I showed up for work. I didn't show up for people. And the scary part is, nobody screamed about it. They just adapted without me. 2, I held my feelings like they were contraband. Men my age, we were trained to swallow things, anger, fear, sadness, even joy sometimes. I thought feelings made me weak. But you know what actually made me weak? Carrying 30 years of unspoken grief like a backpack of stones. Unspoken feelings don't disappear. They leak. They come out as sarcasm, distance, temper, silence. They come out as I'm fine when you're not. And every I'm fine was a brick in the wall I built. 3, I postponed my health like it was optional. I ignored the little signals, the fatigue, the dizziness, the forgetting, the shortness of breath. I treated my body like a tool that would work until it didn't, like a car you never service because it still starts and then it didn't. If you're younger, listen, the body keeps receipts. Every skipped appointment, every stress sandwich you ate standing up, every night you traded sleep for just one more thing, it adds up, quietly, patiently. 4, I let pride turn into isolation. I told myself I was independent. What I really was afraid. Afraid to be a burden, afraid to look needy, afraid that if I asked for help, people would see how much I actually needed them, so I didn't ask. And that creates a trap because the longer you don't ask, the harder it becomes. You lose practice, you lose connection. People stop offering not because they don't care, but because you've trained them to believe you don't want it. 5, I waited for a perfect moment to change. This one is the sneakiest. I thought I'd fix everything when I had more energy, more time, less stress, when the kids were older, when work slowed down, when the season changed, when I felt ready. But readiness is a myth. Most good things happen when you're slightly unprepared, and you do them anyway. Okay, that's the autopsy. Now the antidote. Here's what I did after that night on the kitchen floor. Not in a grand, heroic way. In small, stubborn steps. I call it the 3 doors. Because when your life feels like it's drifting toward a sad ending, you don't need a total reinvention. You need 3 doors you can open one at a time right now. Door 1, reconnect. Not someday, today. I made a list, real paper, pen, shaky handwriting, of the people I missed. Not the people I should call, the people my chest felt lighter thinking about. Then I started with the easiest one. A friend I hadn't seen in years. I didn't craft a perfect message. I wrote the truth. Hey, I've been distant. I miss you. Can we talk? You'd be amazed how many relationships aren't dead. They're just waiting for someone to lower the pride and raise the honesty. And yes, sometimes people don't respond. That hurts. But you know what hurts worse? Dying with the words still inside you. So here's your homework. Send 1 message today. 1, short, honest, no speech, no explanation essay, just a bridge. Door 2, repair. This is the scary door because it involves apologies. Real ones, not I'm sorry you feel that way, not I'm sorry, but a clean apology is simple. It has 3 parts. 1, I did this. 2, it hurt you. 3, I'm working to change it. I apologized to my daughter. I told her I'd made her earn my attention, like love was something she had to qualify for. She cried. Then she laughed a little and said, finally. And I realized people don't need you to be perfect. They need you to be honest. If there's someone you owe an apology to, do it while they can still hear you. That's not guilt. That's freedom. Door 3, reclaim. This is the door back to yourself. I started small. I walked every morning, not a marathon, just enough to feel my lungs remember they exist. I ate like I wanted to live, not like I wanted to punish myself. I went to the doctor and stopped acting like discomfort was a badge of honor. I also did something I never thought I'd do at my age. I picked up a hobby that had no use. I started carving little wooden birds. Terrible at first, splinters everywhere, but it made me feel alive in a way I'd forgotten, because here's the truth. If you don't have something that's yours, something that feeds you, your life becomes a series of obligations and you start resenting everyone for it. Reclaiming isn't selfish, it's fuel. And let me add this, because people always ask, what do I say? What if it's awkward? Awkward is fine. Awkward is alive. Here are 3 sentences that saved me when my pride tried to grab the steering wheel. Sentence 1, I miss you. Simple, childlike, dangerous, healing. Sentence 2, I've been wrong. That one is hard. It tastes like medicine, but it clears the infection. Sentence 3, can you forgive me? Not can we move on? Not let's forget it. Forgiveness is a door you don't kick open, you knock. Also, practical tip, use what I call the 2-minute courage rule. If something good will take less than 2 minutes to start, send the text, make the call, schedule the appointment, stand up and stretch. Do it before your brain negotiates you out of it. Because your brain is a talented lawyer, it will defend your bad habits with excellent arguments. Now there's one more thing I need to confess. I used to rehearse my own funeral in my head, not in a dramatic way. More like I'd imagine the room. Who would be there? What would they say? And the version that scared me wasn't the one where people cried. It was the one where people didn't know what to say because they didn't really know me. Walter was responsible. Walter worked hard. Walter kept to himself. That's a tragic sentence to be summarized by. So I started doing the opposite. I started letting people actually meet me. Messy, soft, imperfect, present. And something wild happened. The more honest I got, the lighter I felt, as if the whole time my soul wasn't asking for a new life. It was asking for the real one. All right, keep going with me. Here's a small ritual that changed my house from a museum into a home again. Every Sunday I set one extra place at the table, just one. Sometimes nobody came, sometimes my daughter did, sometimes a neighbor. Once my grandson showed up, hungry and pretending it was no big deal. But that empty plate did something to me. It reminded me that my life was still open, still invitational, still unfinished. If you live alone, do it anyway. Put an extra mug out. Leave the porch light on. Make your space look like love is expected here. Because isolation has an aesthetic. It looks like don't bother. And connection has an aesthetic too. It looks like there's room. Okay, now I'm going to finish the lesson the way I wish someone had finished it for me. And please don't wait for a crisis like I did. Don't wait for the floor. Don't wait for the siren. Don't wait for the almost. You don't need a near-death moment to start living. You just need a near-truth moment. A moment where you stop lying to yourself about what matters. All right, one more thing. If you're thinking, but I'm too far gone, that's fear talking. As long as you can breathe, you can repair. The heart is stubborn like that. It keeps making space. So take the smallest step today. That's enough to begin. One last check. Are you living or just managing? If your days feel like chores and your nights feel like escape, that's the warning light. Don't ignore it. Pick one door today, just one. Even a tiny turn of the handle changes the whole room. And if you slip tomorrow, start again. Stubborn kindness beats perfect discipline. Now, I want to speak to the person who's thinking, yeah, but my life is complicated. Of course it is. Mine was complicated too. I had debts, family tension, health scares, old resentments, the whole messy human package. But the biggest lie I told myself was, I'll change when things calm down. They don't calm down. You just run out of time. So here's what I want you to do with this video, not tomorrow, not after you finish this week, after this video. Do these 3 things, quick, simple. 1, write down one name, one person you miss. 2, write down one sentence you've been avoiding. 3, take one small action for your body today. Water, walk, stretch, appointment, anything. That's it. Because a better life isn't built in grand announcements. It's built in tiny decisions you repeat until they become your new identity. I'm 90. I don't have the luxury of pretending anymore. And I'll tell you something. The sad ending I feared wasn't death. It was dying without being known, without saying what mattered, without touching the hands I loved while they were still warm, without hearing laughter in my home again. That's what I almost did. I almost let my life end like that. But it didn't. Because one night on a kitchen floor taught me the simplest lesson I ever learned. You don't fix a life by thinking about it. You fix a life by reaching out. So if this hit you, leave a comment with one word, reconnect. Not for me, for you. So you remember you chose the door. And if you want more of these honest talks, no fluff, no pretending, subscribe. I'll be right here as long as I'm able, telling you what I wish someone told me sooner. All right, go send that message. I'll wait here.